Thank you for joining us this evening for Power of Soul, celebrating Black music on campus in the 80s. My name is Midori Jenkins, and I am an entertainment and media studies major in the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication. I also serve as DJ Blue Moon and In the Mix talk show co-host on 90.5 FM WUOG Athens. Tonight, I am thrilled to be joined by UGA and WUOG alumni for this discussion. A special thanks to Sonia Ross for bringing us this idea and putting us in touch with this esteemed group. We have three outstanding panelists here with us tonight. Daryll DJ Jones enrolled at UGA after being named High School Football All-American QB and being drafted by MLB's Pittsburgh Pirates in 1980. Considered among the top college football prospects in America, DJ signed with the Dogs fall 1980 and majored in speech communications. His freshman class is considered the greatest in UGA history with a combined record of 43-4-2. He was a member of 3 SEC championship teams, 1980 through 82, and a national championship in 1980. Drafted by the Green Bay Packers in 1984, DJ played for the Packers 1984 through 86 and the Denver Broncos 1987 through 88. Over the past 25 years, he has been sports director/anchor for WRBL-TV, CBS News, Columbus, Georgia, sports talk show host WDAK Columbus, TV football analyst GPB Sports Atlanta, UGA TV football analyst WSB Atlanta, and UGA radio analyst contributor Bulldogs Radio Network WSB. DJ is currently managing partner, executive producer, and host of Sports Vision's TV radio magazine, established in 2004, and sports director for the Sports Vision's radio network with PMB Broadcasting Columbus, Georgia. Ron Schofield graduated from UGA in 1983 and has spent the bulk of his career covering national news at top organizations like ABC News, Associated Press Television, and now as an executive producer of affiliate relations at News Nation. His first job in media was working at WUOG as a news reporter and DJ, which was a quick walk over from his dorm room in Reed Hall. He still keeps in touch with classmates and professors from his time at WUOG and Grady, and attributes to getting his first job to his television writing professor, Bill Martin. He also likes to point out that his daughter is also a UGA graduate. Scott Williams is a 1986 graduate of UGA and the Senior Director of SEC Network Multimedia Sales at ESPN. Scott joined SEC Network after serving as manager of corporate sponsorships for the Atlanta Braves and nearly 2 decades with Turner Broadcasting. In addition to being involved with WUOG as a college student, he was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi and the Georgia Bulldogs football team. He played 3 seasons in the NFL. Our moderator, Condace Pressley, is an Emmy Award-winning broadcast journalist with decades of experience and host of the radio show and podcast Perspectives. She's former president of both the Atlanta and National Association of Black Journalists. Condace is a University of Georgia alumna and a member of both the Georgia Radio and Georgia Association Broadcasters Hall of Fame. She is active in the community and serves on the boards of directors of the Girl Scouts of Greater Atlanta, the Atlanta Community Food Bank, the United Way of Greater Atlanta, Chris 180, and the Alliance for Christian Broadcasters. In her free time, she enjoys gardening and reading in her rocking chair. Thank you to our panelists and moderator for joining us this evening. I would also like to thank Diane Murray for organizing this program. Now I'm going to yield the floor to Condace Pressley to get started with the panel.
Midori, thank you so much for that gracious and generous introduction. And again, a shout out to Sonia for pulling this all together and Diane for turning things around so quickly. You guys did amazing things in your days on campus in Athens. First question for each of you, and I'll start with you, Ron. How did you find your way to the top of Memorial Hall to the radio station?
You know, it was at the time I was coming out of school, and even now, you kind of need something on your resume. People don't really ask you what kind of grades you made when you come out of journalism school. They need to know, what did you do related to the field. And once I found they were over there, I just kind of wandered over there and said, hey, I need a job. I actually was a news anchor And I recall the news director saying you should probably think about another career. So,
Why would
I,
he say something like that?
she,
She,
I was, look, I'm from Middle Georgia. I had a little bit of a twang, Southern accent, and, I get it. So I said, okay, then you need somebody to handle the, the DJs. I'll just do that. And that's kind of how this all came about. But yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to point out, Condace, I probably should have written a longer bio after hearing DJs. Um, the way I got into the University of Georgia was there was a girl I liked in high school that said she was going to go to Georgia. So I said, okay, I'm going to apply. There's my shot. And then she went to Spelman. So that's all girls for you that don't know that. So
Scott, what about you?
Hey, Mr. Schofield. Mr. Schofield, my man. And Condace, you do know that all three of us are fraternity brothers, right?
I did notice that in my preparation. So I'm just here to kind of keep us all on time. This is really your show. You guys might as well just talk to one another.
So Mr. Schofield passed the baton down to DJ Knutson Jones, Daryll DJ Jones. And Daryll DJ Jones passed the baton on to me. And, obviously being their fraternity brothers and listening to them play the music that I loved since I was born, came out of the womb, I was always interested in music. Didn't know how to get into it, didn't know what to do. Finally had conversations with both of them, talked to DJ, and I became the next man up. And you talking about somebody that was so happy. So I did that and did music for the fraternity and did music for the Animal House. And yeah, that really set me on fire.
The station has always branded itself as Athens' only alternative before alternative radio and alternative music was a commercial format as it happened in the late 80s, early 90s. You guys put Black music on Athens' only alternative 90.5 FM, WUOG. DJ, talk about how we were able to get that done.
Well, I know that V103 was the big station, obviously out of Atlanta, and at night they would turn, I understand they turned the signal down. So it was very hard for the Metro Athens area and community to get the station, because I know during the day and a lot of times I can remember me listening to V103 and getting the vibes of soul music and R&B music. However, my frat brother Ron Schofield came to me, and I came up as a youngster knowing that I wanted to be an announcer, whether it was TV, radio. I just, in addition to playing sports, I had a dream, and I wanted to do this, and it was something that was on my mind. Lo and behold, I never thought that I'd have an opportunity to work for the university station, and I'm sure that I found out years later, Coach Dooley didn't know either. He didn't know either, but we were able to pull it off, and it was a situation where we were already pretty popular on the national championship football team, and again, but something extra stood out, I guess, with Scotty and I, because people thought that again, it was something special to go on the air, to hear us, and to hear not only classmates, teammates, to hear us and follow us, but it was special, Condace, and it was just something that was a dream come true for me.
DJ, hit that tag that you used to say.
Oh yeah. When they turned that signal down and they came on, we were on Thursday nights. If you can't get the beat, come jam with me right here on 90.5 FM. And that was guys to this day that were in school with us, they recite that to me.
I forgot about that. We had a guy, we were called Athens Alternative Rock. REM was in town, the B-52s. We played folk music, we played classical music, we played radio theater. And I had to do all the shows because I was the chief announcer, and I also needed to graduate. So I couldn't do the show and do that job. And so that's how we kind of tapped DJ on the shoulder, because we didn't want to give it away. At the time, Athens only had a daytime AM station that did Black music, and you know, we went on the air, and I just remember the phone just ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And I go, holy crap! You almost need a kid to help you answer the phones, and we just went, and sort of also did the fraternity parties because everybody had a stereo of some kind. You know, it was, at the time you didn't know you were doing something that was going to be around, or at least remembered at this point. But you know, when you crave something and you don't have it, I mean, look, we were all strangers in a big university. If I recall, they had 22,000 students. For some reason, the number 800 Black kids sticks in my head. I don't know if that was true or not.
That's about right. That's about right.
And most of y'all on a football team. So it was just an odd, so you played this music and it was like, holy crap, there's a bunch of people in the city that like listening. And we were 10,000 watts. That's a lot of area. And that went almost back to Atlanta anyway. So.
Go. I've been wanting to ask you this question for a number of years, but what made you offer me the opportunity to join WUOG in the Power of Soul?
Well, I didn't want to give it away. I mean, I knew it was popular. It was a big deal at the station. At least people were listening to it at that moment. And I wanted to keep it amongst the fraternity, to be honest with you. And that's how come I'm not even sure what conversation we had, but you came in. It's interesting. I still keep in touch with one of the news people. She still talks about what a nice young man you were, because you used to walk her up and down the steps every day. I said, well, I don't know if he can get up those stairs anymore, but he's still a nice guy.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let me ask you this. You know that we know that 90.5 had this incredible, that room that was the music library, and all of the albums and the masking tape that was around the end so that you knew how to find what you wanted to play. For us, did you end up bringing in your own music to play? How did that work?
I had to bring it in. I took it from Scotty. I took it from DJ. I had a bunch of it. Now, at the time, I was mostly a jazz person because I came out of high school in a band and really liked instrumental stuff. But you know, when you're talking about partying, you were playing the music that you could get it from somebody. And if Scotty had it and I didn't, then I wanted to hear it. That's all it was. And eventually they started to send us some of it, but I don't, you know, we were still the B-52s, the producers, and REM. You could walk across the street and see them for $3 or $4.
By the time it got to me, I was able to go downtown to Turtles Records. And so there was an account that WUOG had at Turtles Records. And so I had crates, I had this leather bag that would carry about 50 albums. And I had cassette tapes that I had made from just playing. If anybody knew me during that time when we were at what was called Mackwater Hall, me and my roommate would have our door wide open, and we had these 4 or 5 foot tall Marantz speakers with the super tweeters on them, and you could hear us across the parking lot. And oftentimes Coach Casey would be upset at us because we would play our music loud beyond curfew. And he just at some point finally just gave up. He was like, well, if nobody else is complaining, I'm just going to leave you guys alone. And we played music all night long at the Mac.
He's still like that on our golf trip. It's just a different speaker system, but he still brings the music and we listen to it for
sure do
12 hours.
Sure do.
Guys, what are some of your favorite memories about that time and playing the music and connecting the Black students who were on campus in Athens through music?
I'll go first. I got to tell you, I did the very first show and I was scared to death. What I now recognize is it was probably anxiety. I was just nervous thinking about it all day. For some reason, I was over by Reed Hall. There's a gas station across the street from it. And I may or may not have bought a big Colt 45 to calm myself for my first show. I have not had that since or before. but it was the highest thing I could find to try to get through it. And, you know, living off of a college budget, that was quite a sacrifice. Only once, but there you go. Take my license.
Well, I think that we all love music, and Scotty and Sco both they DJ'd the parties. Scotty made reference to the Animal House. That was just that was a facility or venue that the football players had to throw parties after our victories on campus, and those guys did parties. I just love music. And again, when you talk about the '80s at that particular time, when you're talking about the Barcades and you're talking about Michael Jackson and Prince and Luther Vandross and the Temptations. I mean, it was just a great era, great time in music that it was just fun. It was fun. And we remember those songs today. And, again, you walk on campus. And again, although, again, Scotty and I played on the football team, I know that, like I said before, that brought on a certain level of recognition. But to be the DJs on the Power of Soul, Sco, I know you had your popularity by being a Noop and also being a DJ on the Power of Soul. But again, man, that took us to the next stratosphere. Scotty, I know that you used to set up and sign autographs at the square at Memorial Hall every Thursday morning.
And now 40 years later, you can sell that autograph and get paid for yourself. So,
Oh my goodness. I tell you what, I felt like I had hit the trifecta. I was like, okay, I'm on a national championship football team.
Right.
I'm a Kappa and I'm on the radio. I'm like,
yeah.
I can walk across and hover across the square. It's like, it's amazing. And I was more happy that people recognize me like, hey, man, are you? And I'm thinking they're gonna say, you that guy on the football team? You the Kappa dude? No, man, you the dude on Power Soul, man. Is that you? I can tell, man. I can tell. So I used to get more excited that people would recognize me from being on the radio station than being on the national championship football team.
Yeah, you should remind people too, Dominique Wilkins was in school at that time too. That was just a great 4 years to be at Georgia. You remember, Scotty once had me sign some kid's autograph in a breakfast place because he recognized him and he thought I played football too. I think he said I had to be a defensive back because I was too small to be anything else.
Oh man, those were the days.
Yep.
So we're talking memories, fun things that you remember, and how wonderful it is, you're right, to get recognized just by saying something or opening your mouth. That actually happened to me once at the 40 Watt, and I never ran into you guys doing the show at night because I was such a goofy good student. I'd go to bed, and plus I was doing news in the morning on 90.5 FM, so I had to get up a little bit earlier than you guys did because y'all stayed up and partied late. But what from those days and that experience, I mean, and Sco, you said it yourself, you needed a job, so you needed something else on your resume and you wanted to do that, and that's how you found yourself on the 5th floor of Memorial Hall hosting this amazing radio show. But how has that experience 40 years ago almost influenced and impacted what you've been able to do since then? And DJ, clearly for you, because you knew that's what you wanted to do and you're doing it. But Scott, I'll start with you.
Okay, well, for me, it was a couple of things at Georgia that really, I think, set a foundation for what kind of a professional I was going to be. One was Al Weiss had a class. I was a senior and it started at 7:50 in the morning. And he said, if you're late once, that's fine. If you're late twice, I'm going to drop your letter grade. And if you're late 3 times, you're out of class. So I said, dude, settle down. But I was there every day on time. And then, all of a sudden, one of the things that the general manager, who was also a student, told me was the station had to close every year for Christmas because they didn't have anybody to stay and do the show. And I made a point of keeping it open my last year of school. I did 12 hours and then I hired a kid from Athens to do the other 12 hours. And to say I hired him meant I let him do a radio show. We didn't pay anybody. Nobody got paid at UGA. I don't know if they're paying now. If they do, I want my money. But They weren't paying them.
Midori's getting paid.
I wish I was, but I'm not.
So everything is still Midori, all volunteers, all volunteer department heads, all volunteer staff.
Yes, everyone at the station is volunteer staff, and pretty much everyone's still students. All of our DJs and hosts are still students. All of our exec board, general manager are all students as well.
I love that's the same language I remember, the exec board. Yeah, I was on the exec board for a minute. DJ, the question went to you. How you took what you did then and put it into practice for everything for you going forward.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, handling the popularity and of course, getting the repetitions because again, it's just like in football. I don't know if folks out there realize that, we record every play of every practice, and of course, the same way for games, and that's how you try to perfect your craft. And with me, I couldn't wait to get back to my dorm room to listen to my shows so that I could correct myself. And that's just the way I grew up. And even to this day, with the radio shows that I've been able to do and the ball games that I've been able to broadcast and the TV shows that I've been able to host, I go back and I look to get better. Everybody says, why are you looking at the show? You just did it. Well, I mean, there's always, I wanted to get better. And that's what I was trained to do as a football player, and it would run that film back and forth. I mean, every step, every play, and I took that into the studio with me.
Scotty.
Yeah, I tell you what, I think it was, the first time I turned that light on and was going live, I had a nervousness about myself that I hadn't experienced before. I had been a pretty decent athlete and played all sports and did many things in front of people. I was a speech communications major, so I was used to getting up and talking and speaking in front of crowds and doing everything. But the first time or two when I flipped that light on, it gave me a nervousness that I was like, oh boy, yeah. So I think in my mind, I needed to conquer that. And then it would close the gap on me having the confidence to go out and do anything I wanted to do. I knew I was going to be in mass communication, speech communication, in that media world realm, and being able to have that confidence to speak behind a mic allowed me to ultimately have that same type of confidence when I'm doing presentations in front of CEOs and CMOs and C-suite folks, which has allowed me to have pretty decent amount of success. So it was the launching pad for me.
You undersell your success. You're doing a lot of great things. All three of you guys are definitely. Somebody in the chat, and if you've got questions for any of the guys, just go ahead and pop it in. I can see it. Somebody wants to know, does anybody still remember the request line number?
Oh my goodness. No, but I tell you one thing. One time, which I had the big head about people calling and talking and saying, "Can you come out and look across? I want to see what you look like." Over by the Bulldog, when the Bulldog was down there in the square, I guess it's still there. And I hit the request line one time, and the dude was like, "Hey man, look, can you stop talking? And I just want to record the music." I was like, not what I thought was getting ready to happen from this call. I was like, okay, man, I tell you what, the next 30 minutes, I'm gonna shut it down a little bit and let you record your music, but then I'm gonna go back to talking.
That was the thing, we all had the boom boxes, you had the cassette tape, you'd listen to the radio, you record your favorite songs. Somebody says that everybody used to play the song Choosy Lover by the Isley Brothers. And every time when you hear it now, that's the memory that it evokes for somebody. And music it's that universal language that connects us all.
Oh yeah. I mean, those songs, man, they're still ringing in my head today. From Hall and Notes to Michael McDonough, Jeffrey Osborne. I mean, it's a plethora of singers, man, back during that time. It's just that, and again, we always say that now, and the young blood say, yeah, old school, because we say, they don't sing like that no more. They can't do that. They're not doing that anymore. But again, those memories and those songs, I tell you, I got fired up, every show. I mean, it was because again, we just had whatever you played at that particular time, you couldn't miss.
Yeah, music has always been a part of my life, and it continues to be. Ron talked about even on the golf course where it's supposed to be shh, quiet. We play music, and we play music all over the place. I'm telling you right now, to this moment, to this day, when I work out, I listen to music. When I walk and jog or run, I listen to music. When I'm on the golf course, I listen to music. When I'm down in my basement, I listen to music. I've got a setup down here, 9 channels, got a 105-inch screen, a couple of 55s on the side.
Okay,
I've
okay.
got music. I've got music and stuff playing down here. And my wife, I've got twin subs. I got twin 15-inch subs down here. And I get to playing music, and she walks down the stairs and like, you are shaking the entire house. And I'm like, okay, my bad. But music has always been important to me. And I always say words and music. And that's what I love.
And how would you pull together your playlist, for your shows?
Who, me?
Yes.
It was
all of you, but Ron, I started with you.
Yeah, well, it was whatever albums I could get my hands on. And, it was just some people that were popular that we knew about. At the time Prince was out, he was only on his 2nd or 3rd album. And look, we tried to have a party every weekend because that's how you would pay some of your fraternity bills. And
Yeah.
Also right next to where you went on the air, and Midori can probably attest to this, once you turn that microphone on, it was a different kind of sound. The quiet was it wasn't just regular quiet, it was a different kind of quiet. You knew you were on the air, and whatever you said was going to be heard by a lot of people. And I used to be the DJ down at O'Malley's, which was a bar on the river, and I used to be the DJ for the fraternity. And Midori, we should probably tell you, a cassette is really a playlist that is on a plastic container full of tape that holds the music, and each one holds about an hour's worth. So you should, I know we talk about that like you know what we're talking about, but when he would go back, he'd have to put this thing in and press play and hit rewind. It's kind of a pain in the ass now, but that's what a cassette is.
Well, you definitely don't want to talk to her about a cart machine now, do you?
No, but I remember erasing my credit cards for the first time that way when I was showing somebody how the cart machine works. So you just press this and use my wallet, and they say, oh crap, nothing works now. Don't do that.
I've heard of a cassette, but I've never heard of the cart machine. Yes, I've seen a cassette before. I don't know if I've played a cassette before.
I still have them right here.
There you go.
I still have some of my greatest hits.
Wow.
It's funny. I should have grabbed it. I've got a cart around here somewhere. Midori, have you ever seen an 8-track tape? Now I'm really going to date us all.
No, I haven't.
You gonna make me go get an 8-track tape?
A cart looks like an 8-track tape, but it only had you got one?
I have an 8-track tape player and a VHS tape player.
What are you playing
and
on
a
8-track
cassette
tape?
player.
Wow.
Huh?
I was going to ask him, what do you play on an 8-track tape? The card is how in radio we used to play the commercials. And people used to get in trouble because you're supposed to let it finish and come back to the beginning. But a lot of people will stop it, and I'm still
It would queue back up, and somebody else would play it, and there'd be 10 or 20 seconds of dead air. And dead air is the death of radio. And especially now in commercial radio in the ratings days with the PPM meters and whatnot, if there's dead air, you're not getting credit for your listening. So exactly. DJ, did you have, actually all of you jocks, get to the end of your show after you've let your listeners record their 30 minutes of building their own playlist to put on a cassette? Do you have a signature song or something that you'd end your show with?
Wow. You know what? I want to say I did, but I can't remember. But there was a lot of them, Condace. I can't say I can remember the signature song, but
somebody
Scotty,
somebody thinks it might have been Confunction's Love Train. Is that ringing a bell for you?
You know what? That's a good start. That's good, Scotty. I know, but Scotty's got that photographic memory. What did I close? What did I close the show with, Eric? Scotty, you was listening.
Man, I can't remember. Oh no, man, don't make me tell a lie.
I got nothing on that one. I do recall my first job out of college was a radio station in Perry, Georgia, and I played the Quiet Storm because I worked overnight. That was my theme song, but I don't know what. I don't think I had one. You just played till your time was up. Somebody was standing behind you like it's my turn now. You know how you do.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, talking about these fundraising events that you would have on the weekends in order to support the expenses and running of the fraternity in the house and whatnot. Hosting those events, I guess DJing and playing the music for those parties, because you guys would, I think I remember going to one of y'all's parties wearing a sheet, but it was the right way. You know, it was a toga party. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Ooh, legendary.
Oh,
Legendary.
Tell
Oh,
everybody
my
about
goodness.
those. Those are great stories.
I don't know how that got started. Just people showed up at the house wearing a sheet one day. Do you know how that got started, either of you?
No. I don't know. I enjoyed the heck out of it though.
I know I used to tell everybody that if you stay until the sunlight, I will give you your money back. and people will be passed out on the wall, sleeping on the floor, waking up talking about, hey, can I get my money back? I'm like, man, you better go home.
Scotty and Sko, what was that fruit punch that everybody was drinking at that time?
Ooh, Nuke juice.
Yeah.
Nuke juice.
They stirred it in the bathtub with their arm.
Oh,
But we did lose a mascot to Scotty's Tales of We'll Give You Your Money Back, in that we had this beautiful white rabbit. You know what happened, don't you?
I know.
And someone passed out and fell asleep with their unfinished drink.
Nuke juice.
Well, this was vodka and orange juice. For some reason, the rabbit was attracted to the orange juice, but the vodka doesn't go well with the rabbit, and he died.
Grain alcohol.
Yeah, I think that was the problem. Yeah, but we had him for 2 days, and then we didn't get another one.
Yeah, probably nibbled on the fruit, because the fruit could be deadly in the punch.
Yes.
The juice.
Oh my goodness.
You forgot about him, didn't you?
Oh man. Yeah. Toga parties were legendary though. I tried to attend one or two after I graduated, and I kept looking around like, yeah, this is the last one. I'm a little bit too old. I don't need to come back to any more of these.
Yeah, this ain't it.
Guys, I've been doing a lot of reporting this month. You know, it's our month, Black History Month, American History in 28 days, although we know it really is a 365, 24/7 type of a story. And I continue to be blown away by the progress that has happened really in a very short period of time. And of course, we all know that there is even more progress yet to be made, and the struggle is real, and all of the things that we know to be true. But for each of you, as radio host on an alternative radio station in the early 1980s or early to middle 80s in Athens, Georgia, at the nation's first and oldest land grant institution, did it ever dawn on you how important, you know, just feeding your soul and feeding your spirit by playing the music was good for you, and how critically important that was to the rest of us on campus?
Well, I'll just say, you know, it's an honor, and really, you know, I didn't really know how significant we were until Sonia, you know, brought it to our attention, or to my attention, and again, got us together, and Diane moved on it quickly. But you know, it's just a great feeling to know that we were part of history, to know that, you know, we started something at a university of such prestige. And again, to think just 50 years or so, you know, African Americans, Black people couldn't even be on the airwaves. We couldn't be on television. We couldn't be on radio. And to know that, you know, we had a significant part in something this special is just, it just floors me. I still really hadn't grasped it quite yet.
Yeah, I want to add just a little bit. I'm not sure that any of us would be here if it weren't for that experience, because we're all doing something related to it. You know, at the time, I grew up in a town where we had an AM radio station. It was a daytime, it was 1,000 watts. So that even when I was there, WUOG was 10,000 watts. So that's well beyond the campus. That was almost back to Atlanta, but you have to stop at some point because you couldn't mess with somebody else's signal. And, you know, I noticed we got a ton of, most of the calls I was getting was from people in the city, not so much people on campus. They just listened and enjoyed it and went back to study.
Because you're providing a service to the community. Scotty.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was conscious of the first Black situation, especially with the football team, because DJ and I weren't too far removed from the first guys that came through at UGA. And I tell you what, we were the first class that, quote unquote, duly said, I've been getting 2, 3, 5 African-American players on the recruiting class. How about if I just try to get all 30? And it ended up being 28 or 29 of us African-Americans on that 1980, the 79-80 freshman team that came in as recruits and changed everything, literally changed everything. But I didn't have quite that same perspective from the radio station. But what I had fought for was what I called the Black Bloc, because prior to me coming on, they used to run Martin Luther King Speaks. And I wanted to make sure that I had something like that leading into when I was coming on. And those were some of the most powerful moments for me. But I didn't have a sense that perhaps we were making the type of history that we actually did.
Midori, as you hear these guys tell these stories, and you know what you're able to do now at WUOG, how is all of this falling on you?
I'm really appreciative of what these guys did for me in increasing the diversity on the station. It's really important to recognize that even though you can't see the listeners, you really are giving people experiences and memories throughout their time at UGA. And it's important to keep the diversity up on the station, so that way people are able to connect with each other. Music has a really powerful way of allowing people to relate to each other, and that's something that the station is really great at doing. So I'm really grateful for what these guys did and being leaders and leaving a legacy for students like me to come on the station and have shows and be able to have that similar experience.
When you guys are on the golf course and you're talking, as fraternity brothers are wont to do, stories you tell, stories more about, for you, DJ and Scotty, playing football or radio, and what kind of memories when you're talking about your time at the university do you share with others?
I know for me, it's hard to not talk football when you consider what we were able to accomplish during our 4 years there. But again, those who were a part or who had the privilege of listening to our show and being around us, those conversations, I know I talk about it because, again, it was just so special to have the opportunity to be on a station at such a young age and, in such a dynamic time and in such a dynamic university. I mean, the University of Georgia. And again, hearing all the people in Athens and all the surrounding areas, knowing our names and outside of football. And it was special. And I keep saying that because, again, I have to pinch myself when I realize and when I sit back and think, of the significance. Like I said earlier, I did not have any idea that we were the first to do this until Sonia called us and said, "Hey, look, guys, we're gonna pull this together and try to make some things happen." And I'm so happy that we're able to share this, all this great history and information with everyone.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, just to clear this up, look, when we're on our golf trip, we're basically 12-year-olds unsupervised with money. There's no real serious conversation ever going on, and Scotty knows that for sure. What I do know about UGA is, like I said, I wouldn't be where I am without it. I was able to easily leave there after my, even before I graduated from school, I could work in my hometown at the radio station because I knew how to work a board and I knew how to be a DJ, and they loved that. And the first job I got when I graduated was at a radio station working the overnight. And I needed to make more money and do TV. So I remember I was in Perry. I had to work the overnight, drive to Savannah, do a job interview at 3 places, and then drive back. That's when I discovered this thing called no-dose. But I've only tried it once, and I was up for 3 days, and I haven't tried it since. But it helped me to get my first job in Savannah as a camera guy.
Hey, a special thanks to my line mother, Sonia Ross. Thank you, Sonia. T884 was indeed a significant. Sonia, thank you. But when we get together and we talk about football, it's one thing. But I still have a handful of guys that when they see me, the first thing they say is, "DJ Scotty Rock, what up, baby? What's up? What's up, DJ Scotty Rock?" And I laugh and laugh and laugh. And so I get more excitement out of that than anything else.
Yeah, Sonia should be on here with us as well. She reminds us that the time from 80 to 84, such a significant period in UGA history. Not only did you guys play on that first national championship team, that we had to wait 41 years for that to happen again, but we'll claim it. That was in those years when we got our first Black drum majors in the Redcoats, our first Black Miss UGA, also crowned during that time. And she makes the point, and I think she's right, none of us understood that we were positioned to be making history while we were just trying to get an education so we could get a job when we got out.
Yeah, so true.
And Georgia was the first time I was around minority kids who were trying to get to the next step of a career. Because I grew up in a farm town, Middle Georgia, Fort Valley. You were either going to work at the bus plant, or I think before I went off to Georgia, my goal was to learn to drive a truck so I could see some of the country. I haven't ruled that out, but I don't know that I need to do it to make a living now.
Mr. Schofield.
Yeah, I just knew that I wanted to be a journalist, and a recruiter came to my high school and said that if I would come to the University of Georgia, my parents wouldn't have to pay for it. And that caught my attention, and I kept listening because, unlike, two of you, I no athletic ability at all, was not going to play in any sport. And sure enough, I got in and went to school on scholarship and got my degree from Grady, and very excited about that. And while at UOG worked, when I first went up to volunteer, because as Midori has said, all of the student employees are volunteers. I had an opportunity to be a feature reporter and cover a health fair. And I thought, well, that's fun, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get a job covering a health fair when I graduate. So me, again, while you guys were having great parties, instead, I was the one who volunteered to go to the city council meeting or the school board meeting, because I thought I needed to know how government worked in order to get a job as a reporter when I got out. And I would write stories about it, and I'd record them on those, what looked like 8-track tapes called carts. And so that's what we used to play commercials and the news. And my stories ended up getting picked up by the state radio network, which got an internship for me, which then got a part-time job, which then got me to WSB radio in Atlanta, and then later up to WSB-TV here in Atlanta. So yes, it was it's not lost on me or on any of us how little time had passed from when Mary Frances Early graduated in 1962, and when Charlene and Hamilton Holmes integrated the University of Georgia in 1961. I mean, that's just like 20 years. You know, that's like we were probably born and got big and said, okay, we're going to go to college and we can go to Georgia, and look at what you guys were able to accomplish. That's really very special.
It was fun. I don't know about you, Midori, but I still describe my 4 years at Georgia as one of the best 4-year stints in my life. I just enjoyed it. You know, we were broke, we were hungry all the time, and
Yeah, I wasn't broke.
well,
No.
that's right. He knew how to make some money. That's another webinar down the road. But I remember I was also part of if we ever had enough money, we cooked at the fraternity house, and this Guy McIntyre that has a bunch of Super Bowl rings and played for San Francisco. I remember saying to him, Guy, there's not enough food for everybody in the house. And he said, well, what do you care? I said, well, we got to feed everybody. He said, no, you and I are going to eat out here, and we're going to be full when we go in there, and they can fight over what's left. So, you know, you just met some really good, smart people who knew how to, you know, they were going to hold you accountable too. That's what I like about, you know, the people. I still tell people, and I tell my girls, the best friends in your life, you haven't met them yet. They're in college.
Yeah, I mean, the incredible support system from both sides of the fence for me in terms of my fraternity, and then guys like DJ on the football side. Johnny Sco, I call him Johnny Sco, Mr. I call him several different things. He let me drive his brand new Nissan 150 miles per hour illegally, and we got stopped. So Johnny Sco and I go back a long ways. DJ and I go back a long ways. We've been great friends, and I think, you know, as you guys have mentioned, the friendships that you build in college are some of the most powerful friendships ever. I'm telling you, I can see either one of them, and when we get together, it's like nothing has happened. We pick up like we just saw each other 20 minutes ago, and we have a blast. I'm telling you, we have a blast. Nothing like it.
I forgot about that. Well, I never forget about that car thing. I got to tell that car story. I get a brand new car. Scotty doesn't drink. Scotty's vice is sugar and driving fast. And so we're going to Atlanta, and we're on one of these small country roads, and we're doing 100 and something. And I'm not driving because I'm drinking in the seat next to him, and we get stopped, and I'm thinking, oh man, we're going to jail. We don't get shot. I think the police officer was afraid because he was
afraid.
And he just said, y'all need to slow it down. And he asked me, had I been drinking? And I said, yeah, I've been drinking a lot because I'm not driving. He is. But yeah, that was, it is like it was 20 minutes ago. Diane's been a part of that a few times, and I think we might have to invite her to a golf trip next time.
I just want to add that the experience from WUOG to the fraternity, of course, Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, as well as the University of Georgia's greatest class, football class, that is. Scotty, we take it for granted, and I know that oftentimes, we reflect on it, but that WUOG thing, man, I mean, that's something that really it's going to register, and it's got to rank right up there at the top. I mean, you're so accomplished in what you've been able to do in your career, and to know that it started there, man, it has to be special.
Oh, no doubt, absolutely, it really is, and I appreciate those words, man. And I think the key thing is that we've all had tremendous success, man, and the foundation was there. That was a huge part of what we've been able to do, and I mean, the way that you've done it, and the things that you fought through, and how you've persevered, and you stay on the mic, and I'm always available when you call, brother. I am.
Oh
I was
yeah.
on DJ's show. I was on DJ's show just recently. And so, that bond is still there. And whenever he calls, I always answer.
And sometimes I'm watching it from here in Chicago online. Just, he'll say, hey, check it out. And I'll check it out.
Yes, sir.
I think Scotty, and again, you eloquently can talk about it a little bit more if we have the time to do so. But what we're doing with and what we've been able to do with the platform that we've had. I've had my opportunities to work with the local CBS affiliate. I was a sports director, anchor, reporter, and then I've worked with University of Georgia. Before the SEC network, I did the games on television, and of course, I worked as a correspondent with the radio broadcast and all of that good stuff. But to start my own, Dale Williams and I, another teammate at Georgia, we grew up in Columbus, Georgia, to start our own sports vision. Scotty, if you would you explain to the folks out there how what that means and how that happened?
I tell you what, DJ. I mean, you once again, that football camaraderie surfaced again, and you guys are huge in the Columbus and Southeast markets. You and Dale put your minds together, and you came up with a concept, and you figured out a way how to build a brand. You built a brand brick by brick, piece by piece. One of the key things that you guys always know and have always known is how to build relationships. You speak well, you can get in front of people, and you can present your ideas, which in turn allows people to listen and clearly understand what you're trying to achieve. And then when you put the care and passion behind the business venture that you guys have done, you come out with excellence. You've been able to have some programs where you invite, the best coaches in the country. You've had Nick Saban in a couple of times. You've had Kirby Smart in a couple of times. You've had Dabo Swinney. You've had the best of the best. And they know that when you call, they must answer, because that's the type of impact that you guys have in the community and that you have in the schools in the Southeast and in the state of Georgia. And if you want to come through the state of Georgia and come to an event where you have the most popular and successful high school athletes, they know they need to come to your event. And that's the power of the brand that you guys have built. And it is powerful and it's something special. And I am proud of you guys for what you do.
I appreciate you, man. I'm going to send you that invoice. No, you send me the invoice. But Scott, we have fun with that. And during the show, Scotty always, before I let him go, he has, he's such a top sales guy that he could just he could sell you the doggone clothes off your own clothes, but he could sell them back to you. But he has a way of doing that. That's why I wanted him to say that, because again, he could do it like no other.
Oh, I know it. I'm glad he said it. I don't know that I could have Saban on a show of mine, so I probably couldn't do what you do, because I'm just too biased about Georgia when it comes to the SEC. But I go back to Scotty when he was playing for Detroit, and then hurt that shoulder again, and then San Francisco calls and said, "Come on out." And he goes, "No, I think I'm just going to sell some lights for a while." And he's been selling ever since. So
Yes, sir, exactly right.
I remember.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Enough's enough.
You three are all outstanding human beings, of course, and great leaders in your own space. How much of the leadership that is in you came out of standing up, raising your hand and saying, hey, we're going to do this radio show on our college radio station, and leverage that to go on and to do other things?
I'll go first again. So first of all, it's two things. So all of a sudden I'm in this fraternity, and I think somebody left, so I had to kind of run it for a few months. So all of a sudden you're this shy kid who wants to sit in the back of the room and not talk, to having to lead meetings. So I'm thinking, okay, this is what leaders are supposed to do. And then you're at WUOG, the guy says, oh, we close at Christmas because we can't find anybody to do the shifts. And I go, I'll do it. And, you know, you sort of, somebody's got to lead, and it's okay to be that person. If you're not, it's okay to not be that person. The next time I had a leadership role, I remember I got to Washington, D.C. I was working at ABC News, and the guy said, "Well, I'm going on vacation." I said, "Well, hey, have a good time." He said, "Well, I need somebody to run the place while I'm gone." And I go, "Well, who's going to do it?" He said, "Well, I'm asking you to do it." And it kind of took me for a loop a little bit, but I said, "Okay, I'll do it." And but I didn't expect it. I didn't think of myself as a leader. I wasn't trying to be a leader. He just thought, you know, you're as good as you're pretty good. Why don't you? And you have the respect of the room. So when you talk about leadership, to me, it means having the respect of the people that you're leading. I don't necessarily, all of them don't have to like me, and I certainly don't like all the people that I work with, but you know, I guarantee you they respect me.
Scott?
For me, I've been blessed to be able to have been tagged early on to take on responsibilities. It started when, and my mother turns 85 tomorrow, and I was there this weekend, and I'm going back this weekend, and we were talking with one of my brothers and one of my sisters. My parents would leave home at 4:30 in the morning, and I took on the responsibility of fixing breakfast and making sure everybody got to school. So, and I have an older brother that's 3 years older than me, but I was the one that was chosen. And so from that point forward, for whatever reason, in my mind, it allows me to step forward into leadership roles. And I've been able to do that regardless of what association I'm in, what group I'm with, or anything. I tend to somehow find my way to wiggle into a leadership position, and I understand how to make a team work, and I understand how important it is to have a leader that's confident, that's able to express himself properly, and I understand the different roles in a team, and everybody doesn't have to be a leader. But I've been blessed to be able to, in my lifetime, in a lot of situations, in a lot of events, in a lot of organizations, be able to step forward and have that confidence. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, my confidence loop was almost closed, and this particular piece at WUOG allowed it to close fully. And so that there was nothing else that I was afraid of or made me have that same nervous feeling. And it has allowed me to do some pretty decent things.
Indeed, it
As
has.
for me, Condace, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the folks that brought me into this world. And on my radio show, and as I introduce myself, I say that I am Walter and Betty Jones's baby boy, Daryll DJ Jones. And I say that with love and respect, because my mom and dad poured into me. Yeah, I have some idols and some heroes and some mentors, but it started at home. You know, my mom and dad being able to have those folks pour into me at such a young age and show me and give me the opportunities to go out and be the best that I can be. And of course, you know, realizing that you just treat people like you like to be treated. Of course, athletics was very, very easy for me, and I was very good at an early age. And the leadership responsibility was thrown on me at 13, 14 years old when I was placed at quarterback. And as a quarterback on any level, you know, you're the leader. And from that point on, you know, I was able to maneuver my way and matriculate, as one of the old coaches said, matriculate my way through life with those principles and standards that Betty and Walter Jones poured into me. And again, I've had some great coaches, from Wallace Davis, my high school coach, Vince Dooley in college, of course, the great Forrest Gregg and Dan Reeves in the pros. But you know what? It all started at the house with me, with Walter and Betty Jones.
Do you have 1 10 11 counter left?
No, sir. No, sir.
Condace, I went to visit him down at his high school, and his coach was so proud of what he was doing with DJ. He took us out in the gym and he made DJ run 10, 11 counter in the gym.
That is pride. That is pride. A
Oh,
little
my
rapid
goodness.
fire. So a couple of questions in the chat before I have one final question for you guys. We know we don't remember if there was a song that you played to close the show. Did any of you as jocks have like a sign-off line, you know, live long and prosper or something like that? Or did you just, how'd you end your show every night?
Wow. You know, that only thing that I can remember, Candace, is what the little deal that I would say about, V103 in Atlanta. If you can't get the V, come jam with me right here on 90.5 FM. But I'm sure I had some little saying, but I can't remember it for the life of me.
For me, I'd play 4 or 5 songs and read a card and keep moving. I didn't have a theme song. I didn't have a catchphrase. The phone just rang off the hook for the whole time. And then as soon as you were done, it stopped. I don't remember what came after us. Maybe folk
But your
music.
audience didn't want to hear it. So.
Right. The phone would just stop ringing as soon as you played your last song.
Scott?
Join me on Thursday night on 90.5 FM where the music plays.
Oh God, that's great. That's awesome. What skill did you pick up? Did you learn during your time at WUOG that you continue to use to this day?
I can say that listening, although we made a living, or I make a living running my mouth, listening to people, listening. I got 2 ears and 1 mouth. So I got to do more listening than anything. And I learned that a long time ago.
Scott?
Yeah, that's pretty important because I call it being an active listener. I have the ability to be able to just listen and not try to formulate an answer while people are speaking. And so I think behind the mic, it always allowed me to try to have a clear mind to be able to read the cards and do what I needed to do. And I think that continues to play a major role in how I do business today, because I try to have a clear mind. I try to listen to all of my advertisers, listen to what they have, listen to their concerns, and not be afraid to pause for a second and then give an answer because I'm an active listener.
And for me, it really was responsibility. I mean, you're talking about a college radio station where you could really be a screw up because you're a young person that's just kind of hanging out and having a good time. And, I felt a stewardship of those airwaves and the people listening. And I still do to this day that, we can't just do junk. We gotta make sure we give people something they can need or use going forward. I mean, like I said, we kept the radio station on the air on Christmas Day. That was, to me, I still remember that. I'm particularly proud of that. I don't know if they close or open nowadays, but I did a long shift. I did folk music. I did classical. I think I played some radio theater that day. I haven't done it since or before, but we stayed on the air.
I learned how to slip cue a record and I did Jazz by Numbers Wednesday nights from 6 to 9 on WUOG 90.5 FM. My last quarter at UGA after having spent a couple of years as the station's on exec council as news director. Before we hand our program back over to Midori, last question for you 3. What words of wisdom do you have for her and other students and young people who are coming through UGA now, especially who look like us, and are seeking to make the most of that opportunity and perhaps have an opportunity to feed that passion of being on the radio? Ron.
Well, I can go ahead, Ron.
Sure. Okay. I will tell Midori the same thing I tell everybody is you really need to network and have a relationship with people because I will take anybody's call if I know them. I will answer your email if I know you. If I don't, probably just going to get rid of it. I met with the group a few months ago from Georgia. I think they were all PR types, and I haven't heard from any of them since. And I'm thinking, you don't, I don't need you to be a pain in the butt to me and reach out to me every week, because I'm not going to talk to you. But let me know how you're doing. Tell me what's going on with, you know, and we're not going to spend a lot of time chatting, but just when it's time to come out and look for work, you want to be able to say, hey, I'm finishing school. Do you have any recommendations of what should I do? I mean, I mentor at work as well, but you want to be able to, one of the things I notice about being in Chicago is everybody who applies is from one of the Big Ten schools, or they're from the University of Missouri, which, because of where it is. I was telling a guy, we were doing interviews about a year and a half ago, and I said, okay, we're at our limit for University of Missouri students. The people applying need to come from somewhere else. Because he went there and they have a good journalism school as well. We should try to get beyond Atlanta sometimes and apply. I mean, when I was in Washington, I didn't know anybody from Georgia there. Just apply. The worst thing can happen is somebody says no. The best thing is they say, yeah, come on out.
DJ.
I just want to make sure that I share with the young people that they have to be passionate. They have to love what they do, because obviously, you know, if you love it, it's not a job. And no opportunity is big or small. Take every advantage of every opportunity. Again, whether it's you know, you're coming in the studio, you just be around the kind of people that you want to be in this business. You know, volunteer. You know, take advantage of the time that you have, because you're not gonna get that big job in New York or Chicago like Sko right off the bat. You start with your local, you know, as you are with the campus station there, your hometown. But be passionate, be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Be yourself, but maintain that passion, that energy, because people, you know, especially whether they're listening to you on the radio or whether they're watching you on TV, they know if you're fake or not. So I would just have fun, enjoy, and take advantage of all the opportunities.
Scott, we'll give you the last word.
Yeah, be intentional about your game plan and what you want to do, and be able to use that platform to help you build mutually beneficial relationships. One thing that you have to know is that your circle of influence will carry you further than anything else that you're going to do. Be clear about that now. Let me be clear, very clear. Your circle of influence will help you go further than just about anything else that you're going to do. And you do that by building mutually beneficial relationships, because there is 6 degrees of separation between you and the next big thing that you want to do. And you only get there by having the right relationships most of the time. That's how this world has been operating for years upon years upon years. And so be intentional about what you want to do and make that plan and meet the right people when you're on the mic and the listeners that you connect with. My dog just came down here to tell me that it's dinner time. And be intentional about it and build your circle of influence.
It's who you know is what it's saying. That's really what it's all about. You know, I have had plenty of people answering the phones for me that graduated from Harvard, Yale. It's like, good for you. Can you get the phone and bring me my newspapers, please? Because people from Harvard always tell you they went to school there. I don't know if you know that yet, but they're going to get that in some kind of way. Isn't that right, Scotty?
That is exactly right. I had to get the job that I have now by double, quadruple Harvard grad that everybody was afraid of. And I was like, let me at him.
Yep.
Wonderful stories, and you all great history that if we don't tell our stories, especially, then who's going to know them? And you all are so right that it is about relationships and so much about who you know, because who you know will get your phone call answered, your email returned, may even get you in the door for the meeting. But beyond that, it's that preparation that you've done once you get in the door that's going to seal the deal and get you the job or whatever else it is that you're seeking. So guys, thank you so much for doing this. This has been wonderful. And Midori, let me give your program back to you, our host.
Thank you, Condace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us tonight for Power of Soul, celebrating Black music on campus in the 80s.